and Marie's apartment in Brooklyn, and that was the one that was on Butler Place.
Yeah.
They had an apartment, and Grace and Marie were not married. They didn't marry until after Pop McCauley passed away.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. So they were in part, and my memory of him was sitting in this big brown chair in the corner of their living room or parlor, whatever you want to call it. And one of his questions he kept asking was, "How far is it to Yonkers?"
Yeah.
And that's why they explained to your dad and I that they said he was a wagon driver,
Right.
and his route was apparently from the factory to wherever they loaded the iron onto either a boat or a barge or whatever it was. So that was one of his questions, was how far is it to Yonkers? And
So
they
it's
were given
interesting.
an answer. I really don't remember that because I would have been, 10, 11,
Right.
at the time.
So it's interesting, Uncle Don, since you mentioned that to me, I think at West Point, and I recently found some old directories, New York City directories, in the 1905 time frame. And Henry is listed as an expressman, but one of the addresses for his business is 63 Gold, which is the port in Yonkers. So that is right with your story that was
That probably really connects itself. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that
It
must
didn't
have
to
been
us
the
as times, but as we had no idea.
Right. Do you remember him visiting?
Never left Brooklyn,
Yeah.
to my knowledge. He never left. Anytime we saw him or his sibling, his son and daughter, always went there to Brooklyn.
So, because I see all the photos and slides that we have of the family get-togethers at Monroe, and I see Grace.
He would never have been there.
Would they have just left? Do you think they would have taken turns to come up, or would he be left alone at times?
I doubt extremely if he would have been left alone. Now, it could be that they had a friend that stayed with them. I don't know. I don't know, but I doubt extremely if he would have been left alone, because as before we talked, my memory of him was this brown chair, and then when we would eat, we would go to the dining room or wherever we were going to eat, and either Grace or Marie would more or less not feed him like a baby, but kind of cut his food into and kind of lead him to what he was going to eat. So in a sense, other than put the food in his mouth, they kind of, so that's why I do not believe that they would have left him alone.
So that would have been in like 1945?
I would say my earliest memory was probably 40, 41, somewhere in there through the war. And then after the war, he got moved to a nursing home in Hempstead.
Oh.
My Uncle John made arrangements somehow to get him into this nursing home, and it was in Hempstead. I do remember that. And that's where he passed away.
So that was 48.
48, yeah. I was
1960.
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school when he passed away.
Do you remember, was there a funeral? Was there a ceremony?
Yes, they did. We didn't go. Your dad and I, we did not go. We didn't go to the wake or the funeral.
Yeah.
But I do remember them going. They left, Mom and Dad left Joe and I, and somebody came in to watch Robert.
Okay. I found that he's buried, as you might know it.
He's buried in somewhere up in the Bronx, and I think there's only one cemetery in the Bronx.
So I did find him. I found him at he's at Old St. Raymond's, which is right when you cross the bridge.
Right of the Whitestone Bridge. In fact, that's where Mary O'Brien is, I believe. his wife.
That is correct.
Okay.
And it's also where Uncle John is buried. Your dad's brother, your Uncle John.
Yeah, and Marie is there too, I believe.
And Marie is there as well. There was not a grave until Uncle John, his wife, put a grave there, and I think Paul also helped.
Okay.
But there was never a stone on your grandfather's.
Really? Oh, that I did not know. I knew that he was buried up there because they said they were going to bury him. I do remember Dad saying that they were going to bury him where his wife was.
Yes.
And that's the only reason I knew that they were in the same place.
Right.
Yeah.
Were there any ever stories about his wife, Mary O'Brien? I know the ones around when she passed, and that's when Nan Elizabeth Dillon.
Right. She came and took care of when Mary passed away. This Nan came. Now I think she was living with them before she died, but I'm not sure of that. But I know she came and she raised them.
Yes.
She raised them until they really, I guess, left the house.
Right. You are right. I did found that because Uncle John and Aunt Grace, they were born in 1907, and that's when Mary O'Brien died.
It was complications from childbirth, as far as I know.
Right. But Nan Dillon, the aunt, is in the 1905 census, so she was living with them already.
Okay. Well, I thought she was, but I wasn't sure. Yeah. I thought she was. But she raised them, and that's, I mean, my memory of Dad talking about his home life, it was always commenting about Nan, as opposed, not so much his father, but it was Nan. It was, oh, your mother did that, so she did that.
Right.
And I think Grandpa McCauley was probably working all the time.
Right. And your memory was that he was this like an express.
They told us he was a wagon driver, because when he kept asking about how far is it to Yonkers, we said, what does he mean by that? And that's when they said, well, he was a wagon driver, and that was one of his destinations.
Right. And you mentioned the connection to the factory.
Well, I know that there was some kind of factory. It was really through your notes that I learned it was where it was.
Right.
But because I didn't know, I knew there was one up there because I remember reading somewhere where there was an ironworks somewhere up on the Hudson River.
Right.
But other than that, it was your notes that you sent that I found out where it was.
Yeah, it's in Spuyten Duyvil.
Yeah.
But you actually told me a long time ago about the name Johnson.